Hey, well, welcome to another ToloTalk. My name is Andy Zaski, VP of Sales and Marketing here at Tolomatic. I have exactly 12 slides for you today, so I'm going to try and keep this short and punchy for you. Today is about a new brochure that we have just launched in the last couple of weeks, and I wanted to take you through how you could possibly use this with your customers and generate some new opportunities. So we have done a lot of work historically with brochures around our products. And what we've been trying to do is actually work more on applications and ways to engage customers in discussions about new opportunities, new ways to employ our actuators. And so with that in mind, today we want to talk about automotive. And you might think about that only pertaining to Detroit, but that certainly is not the case anymore. You think about things in Detroit, historically, the big three there, but everything has been expanding. Tesla, based in California, now moving to Texas with different pieces. Canada certainly has its fair share of automotive. Tennessee, Kentucky, Alabama, Mississippi. Seems like just about every state has either a primary manufacturer of automotive or one of the tier one or tier two suppliers, someone supplying product that would go back either inside the automobile itself or inside the automotive manufacturing process. And so I think this has a broad application, and it might even apply to other areas. Obviously, putting together any sort of vehicle, putting together any sort of mechanical assembly, would also have applications here. So with that in mind, I'm going to take you through a few different pieces here. So just generally, I wanted to start off with a quick note on all the different industries that we are engaged in, and it really is a potpourri, if you will, of industries that we touch on a day-to-day basis. So, food and beverage, packaging, material handling, those are some of our largest, but growing applications in the timber industry, metals and fabrication, medical. Actually, we've seen a big growth here in the last few years. And on and on it goes. And so I wanted to kind of give you that broad perspective. We're in lots of different industries, lots of different applications, many different products being applied in those different applications and industries. And with that, over the years, we've come out with some industry brochures. So in an effort to try and better establish our credentials with key customers, as well as to kind of break into applications and ideas on applications with them. We've had a food and beverage solutions brochure for a long period of time. So that exists out there. A lot of case studies that you can see here that we kind of outline real briefly, just giving people an idea of things that we've done historically. We added a timber processing application brochure a few years ago. We've also done material handling, and we had done gantry solutions. And so, all of these have been building up, but there's one glaring gap. And over the last several years is that we never addressed automotive, and automotive is our largest market by far, actually, as a company. And so in an effort to try and rectify that, we've come out with this automotive brochure. And I just wanted to take you through the key components of that brochure. We spent quite a bit of time and energy in trying to make this a application brochure that would really be much more broad than just focusing on our legacy servo weld product, really something that could touch tier one, tier two, and even the basic manufacturers themselves. So with that in mind, how do you find this said brochure? If you go to our industry page on our website, you click on automotive, you come over, and there are a couple things. Success stories will pop open first. If you go to the resources tab, so you got to click on this button here, and then automotive application brochure down here. And actually, we've reorganized it since yesterday. It now should pop up as the first one here, but automotive application brochure will be here. So that's where you can go get this brochure. I'd encourage you to download it. It's also in our app. So if you're using our Tolomatic app, it's uploaded there as well. It'll be in the industry section also. So with that in mind, I wanted to take you through some of the key details within the brochure and how you might walk a customer through it. So if you're able to get that appointment in person or potentially even virtually, this would be a way to walk through the brochure with them and give them some ideas on what's Tolomatic been doing in automotive, why would you want to work with them in automotive, What kind of history and background do we have? And, with that in mind, last week, our CEO was touring here in the States, actually not in Detroit. It was down in the Southeast. Went to a facility, a Japanese manufacturer, and had a great sales call with two engineers there. Their primary mission in life at this facility is to improve efficiency and reduce operational costs of the facility. And so they took them and looked at, I think, 10 different applications where they had pneumatic actuators doing different activity that they wanted to look at. What would it take to replace those with an electric solution? And so, you all will have an opportunity in your areas, I think, to visit with a customer that could benefit from looking through this brochure and talk about different opportunities. So with all that being said, I just wanted to take you through a couple pieces here. So you open up, this is the front cover of the brochure, kind of a broad spectrum of photos here, just giving you an idea that it's about vehicle manufacturing. Here inside, first page, on the inside, we were founded in 1954 and really started doing a lot with automotive in 2000, maybe a bit earlier than that. But our first servo electric actuator for the servo well product was jointly developed with General Motors back in that 2002 timeframe. And since that time, so for over 20 years, we've really been ingrained in the automotive industry, working with General Motors, Volkswagen, Chrysler, Ford, Tesla, you name it, at a very basic level with the corporate manufacturing, but also with all the tier ones and tier two supplying equipment and manufacturing capability to those larger corporations. So we take you through just giving you and your customer a sense that, hey, we know what we're doing in automotive. We'll give you the idea that everything we do is around endurance technology. We know that any sort of downtime for an automotive manufacturer or a supplier means big money. And so everything that we're doing and the design philosophy of Tolomatic around endurance technology is really targeted at keeping that customer up and operational. So we talk a little bit about what does that endurance technology mean and what do you get with electric actuators? You get this high duty cycle capability. You have this infinite positioning, right? You can stop at any point in space that you want to move forward or backward from that space at will, at whatever velocity that you want. You have a high degree of accuracy and perhaps even more importantly, the repeatability. You're going to do the same thing every single time. It is energy efficient, so there is a play there. Certainly it's green. And then simplifying these machine designs. You don't need as many guards and enclosures and things like that. You don't need as many wedges that you put in there to help adjust distances and things like that. So it gives you a very flexible design. So your machine can actually make several different parts if need be, and adjust manufacturing processes as it goes forward. And throughout the life of that machine, make adjustments. So that's the first page. Second page on the other side. This just talks about and shows you a number of different solutions that we come up with customers. So the idea here is tell us what your challenge is, tell us what you want to improve, and then we want to work with you in developing that solution. So how do we take a look at your challenge, and then we'll figure out what the scope of that would be, do a quick feasibility study with you. Here's a concept design that we could put forward. It may be part of our catalog product, or it could be completely customized. And what you see shown along the edges here are really quite a bit of customization work that we've done at the request of various customers for a particular application, as long as there's some volume tied to that. We'll put together some concept designs. If it's custom, that'll have to come from us, but otherwise you have the ability to get that from our online sizing and our CAD configuration, online CAD files, etc. You can talk about your motor here, connecting with their favorite motor and drive supplier for that facility. And then we'll do prototype testing, and they're welcome to do that with your customer at our lab here. So we can set up and try and simulate an application here in our laboratory, or we can certainly get it out into the field, do some prototype testing, and we'd encourage them to take a part of their line and do that before we do anything sort of in a broad or more sweeping fashion. So, and then we certainly can iterate design based on what we learned from that prototype testing, and then give you high quality, solid delivery, and product that will last for a long, long time in their manufacturing facility. So opening cover, inside, kind of setting the stage for, we know what we're doing in automotive, and we really want to understand what your challenges are. And here's our process that we work through with you to help find a solution with that opportunity. Next 2 pages here, you open it up and say, hey, we know what we're doing around automotive industry. And this really represents the 5 big stages that automotive companies think about in their manufacturing process. So you have your body shop and assembly. There's a press shop where you're putting key componentry together, like engines, et cetera, the battery packs, et cetera. You have quality inspection involved, final paint booths and e-coat booths, and then the final assembly. And so this is meant to really speak to an automotive manufacturing company. This should be lingo and language that they appreciate, understand, and kind of speaks to them. If you have suggestions for us on different ways we should portray this or different terminology we should use, please feel free to send me a note. This is the beauty of having online documentation, is that it's very easy to make adjustments to that as we go forward. So underneath these photos, we just try to give an indication of, different examples of things that we're doing. And then some of the different things that they may be involved with, right? Projection welding, clamping, hemming, clinching, metal forming, die exchanges, it's inspection, showing a gantry system here, paint dispensing, adhesive dispensing, and then conveying, lifting, assembly here. So again, a quick look, and the idea is here to kind of help them feel comfortable that we understand what they're doing. Then we get a little more specific. So we open it up. This is a little bit more geared at the tier 1 and the tier 2. The last page is a little bit more geared at the primary manufacturing. So the Hondas of the world, the General Motors, the Fords, et cetera. So depending on which audience you have, you might choose to use the first layout a little bit more and this one less, or you might want to jump more to this page here. And the idea is all of these, whenever you put a manufacturing plant together, there becomes this ecosystem of other companies that are all feeding product into that facility. So you design and build a facility, and there's a lot of equipment and componentry that goes into that, but there's also this a community basically all feeding product into that assembly plant. And so this is really geared at that group. We do a lot with injection molded parts, part ejection, pressing, molding, handling, pick and place, et cetera. Powertrain, which we'll see how much of that is, as we go forward, but it's still a key component today and will be for some time. You've got a lot of honing, pressing, forming, and bending, things like that. Insertions, battery trays, and batteries themselves. There's a lot of things that go on with projection welding and crimping, pressing, et cetera. So trying to speak the language both to internal combustion engines, as well as to the battery tray side of things here on the electric vehicles. A lot of the componentry, pogo pin testing, sorting, camera positioning, et cetera. Brakes, actually doing a fair bit with brakes, balancing brakes, assembly of brakes, honing of brakes, testing of brakes. Tires, all the tire plants, actually we have a lot of installations there, and I have a whole separate presentation we've done a little bit of. It's over a year ago now, maybe worth revisiting, but if you've got a tire plant, we've got a lot of applications that we've done successfully with some of the big names, and we should be talking. So exhaust systems, and then interior components. So just trying to round it out, whatever people are making, there's a lot of processes involved in trying to get those components perfect for the customer, and then feeding those in a very reliable and high quality fashion to the general manufacturer. And so this just speaks to that. Kind of winding down towards the end of the page here and the brochure, but this layout comes after that, and I think it's the most important. And so you set the stage, we know what we're doing, here's our process for working with you, here's a bunch of examples of different things that we've done and ways of thinking about opportunities, maybe as much for you as a salesperson to think about customers that we should be talking to as those customers themselves. And then you come to this page, and here's the beauty of having a digital version. We have set this up so that most of these actually, and I can't do it in PowerPoint here, but as you hover over them, it'll give you this little finger thing. And so you click on that, and it'll actually take you directly to our case study that's on our website. And so all these links will hyperlink you and or your customer over to that case study. So if part stamping is of interest to this customer, click on that. It takes you to our part stamping case study at our website. So we've just picked what we thought were some of the more interesting case studies we had. A lot of different products. We got RSXs here, wheel bearing presses, do stuff with airbag production, a lot of pressing applications, RSX, RSA. We're doing airbag assembly, folding, and things like that with rodless applications, ultrasonic welding, projection welding, injection molding, brake assembly, tire transfer applications, powertrain assembly. There's the projection welding piece. And so each of these will have a hyperlink. You click on that, take you directly out, and I'll show you an example of that here. So part stamping, you hover over this, click on it. It takes you out to our website, and it will show you that this is a pneumatic application. Use this MXP. Our standard products. Here's a bit about the application. What did we do? What was the challenge? How did we solve it? And what the customer see as a benefit? I just cropped it at that point. So again, an interactive brochure, and I think that's going to be more of the wave of the future. How do you both get their attention and then convince them that we have some opportunity, and then help actually give them confidence in that. So the final couple pieces here give you a very high level look at all of our products. So you talk about, hey, you're in the industry, here's a whole bunch of examples of where we've done work, and then kind of give them an idea of what our capabilities are. So this gives you the rod style screw driven actuators here. So ball screw, roller screw, everything from small sort of pneumatic replacement applications all the way up to 50,000 pounds of force here, hydraulic replacement. You've got integrated designs. Some of this is robot carried, welding applications. We do just roller screws. So if there's some pressing applications or machines they're building that have a screw component to it, we could sell them just the merchant roller screw. They can incorporate into their machine design. You've got rodless belt driven actuators, and then rodless screw driven actuators. So if you want to go have more power and precision, or if you want to go faster and have more length, longer applications. And then last, we just talked about modified and custom applications. So right here, we did an application for nut placement. So anyone that's got a sheet metal that you're doing sheet metal assembly, there's not enough material to that sheet metal to actually screw things together. And so they go out and they take that sheet metal, punch a hole in it, and then they weld a nut onto that sheet metal, and then that's what you screw into and to create a rigid frame. And so and then TRS is another example here that we have for positioning parts in a machining and assembly process, a very rigid stage design. So all of this gives, I think, you and your customer a sense of, hey, they've got a lot of capability. There's a broad catalog of product. Everything wouldn't have to be customized. They've been around for a long time, and there's going to be support, global network of distribution and support capability. So lean into this company. And then at the very end, the last slide or last page just gives you the idea we are global with our Mexico, Europe, and China offices here being represented, as well as then some of the selling points around Tolomatic. Again, this picture just gives you that impression of a broad catalog of product line. And then you've got innovative, quick delivery, online sizing capability and tools, your motor here capability, CAD designs, and then of course, technical support. So with that, I think this becomes a pretty interesting brochure for you to use. I'll just go back through it real quickly. Again, setting the stage for capability and engagement in a process, trying to help tickle their imagination with some of the different things that we could do in their facility, or areas we could look at. Hey, oh yeah, that has been a pain in the ass, or we've always thought about improving that. Maybe now's the time. And then giving very specific, detailed information, linking people directly to some of the case studies that we've done, helped drive some confidence in that, and then setting the stage with broad capability of our product line